Okay guys, J-Prod Performance here. It's been a while since I've done an update on this 31 Ford. If you're following this series, maybe you're new to it, but if you're new to it, I don't want to recap all this. Just go back and look for, I forget, parts 1 through 4 or something. I don't know where we're at now, but anyways, so what I'm doing now, mounting the engine. So we're fitting a small block Ford here. This is a 351 Windsor, and this is the original firewall, and I had to remove this because you can see how this protrudes out quite a bit. This is an aftermarket firewall. I did not fabricate this. I am not a good sheet metal man. It was more cost effective, just to buy it rather than having me try to construct this. But so I've got this in place. I have a little bit of more welding to do on it. But anyways, this gives us clearance for the engine, and you can see we got plenty of clearance in the back here and the front here. I've tried to move this back as far as I could, but it's a little bit, it's kind of close to the radiator, but the intent is to mount the electric fans on the front side of the radiator, not the engine side of the radiator. So it'll look neater, and then it gives us more room in here, just kind of hide those ugly electric fans. And so this is the radiator here. So we're going to mount the fan or fans. I don't know if it's one big one or two small ones that we'll end up doing. We'll see what fits. This here, for some reason, this grill doesn't quite fit inside here, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. I'm not an expert on these early cars, and if you guys are, let me know. But this is a 31. I don't know if we've got, maybe a 32 grill, and and this piece is from a 31 or vice versa. I don't know. Ford and little tiny variations and things don't fit, or maybe this piece is tweaked or something, and I don't know what's going on there. So that's something I'm going to have to figure out. So if you have any information on that, let me know. Make sure maybe these pieces are just not compatible with each other. I don't know. Or, maybe just that God only knows this stuff is old. It could be just tweaked, and I may have to repair it. I don't know. So I got to figure that out. But in any case, that'll be another day. So that's the plan there. Electric fans mounted in the front of the radiator, and we've got enough clearance here for the motor. Now I can't really go back any further because you can see, it's kind of hard to tell, but we're real close to this opening on this firewall, and I could modify that, but it's going to snowball into a lot of sheet metal work if I do. I just don't think it's necessary at this point. And let me show you inside. You can kind of see why. So here's the trans, and we've got this big overdrive trans in here. It's kind of got a lot of bell housing. So these cars are not meant to have an engine and trans this large in it, and if you want this stuff to sit higher and further back, I would have to tunnel out this whole area. I mean, you can see here how close this is. Now the body is going to come up a little bit because I'm sitting directly on the frame. I'm going to put some rubber insulators between the body and the frame, and I'm going to have to weld some pads and things underneath so I have good, attaching points and things like that. So that's probably going to be my next step. and then I've got to construct these floor pans. You know, this is a very small cab, and, you know, another reason I don't want to tunnel this all out, it's just going to make the cab that much smaller. You know, it's just not a big car. And, you know, that could be done, and I know people do it. We're going to try not to do that. You know, if we were making this a lowrider where it sat super low to the ground or whatever, which is not the goal here. We're not going to be riding high, but we're not going to be sitting super low either. We've got enough ride height to let this hang down like it is. You know, it's a little bit lower than what it would be traditionally in a, you know, a muscle car or something, but I think we're going to be just fine. I think we've got enough ride height to not be, you know, bashing the oil pans and things. But I could be wrong. You know, this is another reason I've only tack welded these motor mounts in. They're not fully welded in yet. So the motor mounts, we bought a kit that was supposed to be, you know, a motor mount kit for this, and man, we get it, and the instructions show it's for a Mustang. It's not really meant to fit this, so you know, and of course, you know, this being a long-term project, I bought this stuff so long ago, I can't return it. I don't think it was a lot of money, really, but, so what we ended up doing, or I ended up doing, this piece here came with a kit, but it was too long, I had to cut it down. This is all I used out of the kit was these two pieces. I could have easily fabricated this, you know. But anyways, that's how the motor mount looks, and I'll show you the other side. It's pretty much exactly the same. So that's it there. Pretty simple stuff. So again, that's just tacked in. I could be wrong about everything I'm saying here, so that's why I don't like to commit with the welder too much, you know, just in case. But we'll get the body and the pan set up and figure out the ride height and things like that. We still don't know tire sizes and things we're using, so there's a lot of decisions that are still up in the air. So you never know. I might move this motor. I hope I don't have to, but I think overall it sits pretty good here. It's going to be real easy to work on. Be able to pull the transmission. And you can see it's hard to, I know the camera angle kind of tricks you. It makes it look worse than it is, but you know, it does kind of sit low, but again, you know, it's not really lower than our oil pan or anything. So that I think we're going to be okay there, but I could be wrong again, and maybe if you guys have done these and want to throw some suggestions or let me know what you did with your car in the comments, that would be helpful. You know, not ugly comments, but constructive comments, useful comments. I know some of you guys thinking, oh man, you're screwing this all up. Yeah, whatever. You guys that say that don't even have a finished car, more than likely, or you bought the car. So I'm not impressed. But you know, I do welcome suggestions and say, man, I've done this before, and yeah, you know, move it this way, that way. You know, cut your floors, do what you got to do, because whatever is going to happen to you. So I don't know. You know, this is kind of one of those things. You know, you sit and you think about stuff, and you think about stuff, and after a while you just go, all right, I'm just going to make a decision and go with it and see what happens. You know, and I think a lot of people, they don't finish projects because they get roadblocked on stuff like that. Man, I don't know, I'm not sure about the engine placement. Sometimes, you know what, just put it in. If you screw it up, you can always adjust it, but you almost just have to make a trial run and see how it goes, and you know, you'll learn. You know, I'm not an expert on these early Fords, you know, I'm just not. And, you know, maybe some of you guys are, and you can kind of guide me on this, but I'm going to go with it and see what happens, because again, this is a small cab, and the owner of this car wants to drive it, wants it to be comfortable. He's not a small guy, but he's not, you know, a jolly green giant either. Normal sized person, but you know, it's a little car, you know, and you start putting a big tunnel and stuff in here, especially, God, if you wanted to do like some crazy 6-speed automatic or any of these things, or, you know, 6-speed manual trans or something, you just end up with a lot of hump in the floor. And, you know, even this overdrive here, this 4R70W, it's a 4-speed overdrive automatic. It's a little big in the bell area, but the rest of it's pretty reasonable. So I've got this up as much as I can go, and I think it's going to work out good, and it'll have a decent amount of cab space. Be able to put some comfortable seats in it and just enjoy this car and drive it, you know. That's why we're putting more modern suspension on it and stuff. I know a lot of you guys like that old original hot rod look, but this guy wants to drive it, man. So 100-year-old technology, not as fun on the road. So this is kind of pretty much set real close to the angle it needs to be and everything. So that's where she's sitting. We're gonna go with this and see what happens. And if it ain't right, I'll pay to fix it, you know. So hopefully it is right. We'll see. That's the fun of this project, you know. I'm not a hero, so I just do the best I can, and we'll figure it out. I think it's going to come out cool. It's kind of exciting seeing the engine in there and starting to get a visual. So, all right, next steps on this car is going to be getting this welded in permanently and getting the angle of the trans and everything. Oh, I've got to build a mount for the rear of the trans. So I got to put some kind of a cross member in here. And I've got a fair amount of plate. I've got some plate left over from when we boxed in the frame. And I think I can use that to make that rear mount, so that'll save a little bit of money. I think I can fabricate that fairly quick. And so that's probably going to be the next thing I do, is fabricate that trans mount. And then I'm going to, like I said, make sure I have contact points underneath the car and put rubber between the, rubber isolators between the frame and the body, and get the body all positioned and all that good stuff. And the radiator, I've got these brackets for the radiator I have to weld in, and I'll get that welded in, and then we'll mock up. We're going to try to use the original hood. We're going to try to keep this. So I got to get all that front end mocked up, make sure that's right, and then get the body set in position and mounted to the frame. Once that's all good, then we can kind of see if, this engine position is going to work. I think it's going to work just fine. I think we're going to be able to work around it. And it looks like we're going to be able to get exhaust inside here. I don't know if we can buy headers for this, or I'll have to make a set of headers. I don't know which way yet. I saw some headers that are supposed to fit this engine in this car, and they look like they kind of come out and go straight down. I don't know. My luck, that motor mount will be in the way, but we'll see. Don't know what we're going to run into there. So, but the goal is to try to get everything inside that hood. if at all possible. If not, we can always, maybe just kind of half section the hood or something. Try not to do that, but we'll see. That's the goal anyways. So, alright guys, that's all I have to show you, and I'll, once I get some other stuff done on this body and all that, I'll let you know what I did, and we'll keep going here. We'll get this looking like a car again real soon. So hopefully it won't be too long before I have another update on it. I kind of had to take a break on it between some personal things going on and work and all that kind of good stuff. You know how it is. Life gets in the way. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching, and look for the next update.